So I want to do my AEW Full Gear review, and what I want to say is that really, it was a really awesome show, and I'm very happy that I saw it in person, and just let my friends and family know some of the results. So it started off with Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus, and I really enjoyed this match because it allowed us to kind of see what Jungle Boy can do. Because I've said many times that he does come off as mild and weak and a very small type of person, but he did take a beating, and he did a great job crescendoing to the finish where he just jumps off the scaffolding onto the cage onto Luchasaurus. And I do kind of feel like it was a catch-22 match because obviously Luchasaurus is a big, powerful wrestler, and it's what do you do with him? Because he should be going after the TNT title and other titles as well. So both of them need to kind of move forward. And even if you want to do Jungle Boy versus MJF. Jungle Boy should not beat MJF. I think it should be a different wrestler, maybe Darby Allin or Anthony Bowens, but more likely Darby Allin. But I do think that he put on a really great showing, and it was unfortunate because when he fell off it, he botched. He didn't hit all of it, so he really damaged his ribs. So I hope he's okay, but that was kind of unfortunate. And I don't remember all the matches, so I'm just going to go off the ones that I do remember. Definitely the heavyweight match with with MJF versus John Moxley. That was a really great match. Definitely everyone wanted MJF to win. The emotion was there, the character was there. The match itself wasn't that great, I felt. I think that it did what it needed to do to kind of tell the story that Regal was backstabbing John Moxley. So, when he beat him, it was kind of very predictable. But what I liked is that, we know this is the direction that they want to go in. So they're not doing the Vince McMahon thing of, oh, well, we know it's predictable, so let's screw with it just to piss off everybody. Or, because that's not always the best option. So I think the heavyweight match was good. The reactions tells you that this is what people want. This is what people are intrigued by. And it also shows that, we're not relying on WWE people. We can honestly just rely on people that are not just former WWE people. The triple threat match between the Elite versus Death Triangle, I thought that was a really great match, really great moves. I am very happy that the Elite lost because they just came back from that controversy, whether the suspension was needed or whether they were just suspended to figure things out and not face further disciplinary actions. I'm not sure. I know CM Punk is not there anymore, but I'm not really sure if the Elite face any disciplinary actions. But they don't deserve to win the titles, and it also creates an environment of using your power to get what you want. So I'm happy that they lost, and I'm happy that they kind of teased that Triangle being heel. So definitely with the trios title, I hope it gets away from the Elite for a while because it just can't just be the Elite always in that title picture. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal versus Sting and Darby Allin. It was another match, but it was also kind of very predictable. Sting doing big spots, and it kind of also worries me too because it kind of goes with the issue that there is really not that much progression when it really comes to Darby Allin. So that's very concerning because he was definitely one of the big stars that they've had, but they've kind of made him super stagnant. So I do kind of hope that eventually they kind of say how we're going to move Darby Allin forward. He can't just be having feuds that go nowhere. And when do we get him to a title opportunity with Sting? It has to kind of progress somehow. The next match that I remember is Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose. This was a great match, and I also like Jade Cargill's cosplay, because the baddies, they're kind of leaving around fans, made dollar bills, and they had like blue hair, so I kind of thought about maybe it's a Black Panther reference. And then you saw Jade Cargill, and she had like a I think she Tora from Thundercats. So it was a really great like cosplay thing that I thought was done very well. And obviously it was a big woman match, and they did a great job. And they showed that Jade Cargill's also strong enough to lift Nyla Rose and all that. So they did a lot of just showing that they can toss both these people around. And then again, it's like, as I said, what do you do with Jade Cargill afterwards? Because she beat Nyla Rose, which is the biggest woman on the roster. So either they could have a match series, or like I said, bring Awesome Kong out of retirement, or bring or bring some like women from TNA wrestling that I don't remember their names, but there's a lot of like just like hardcore women doing hardcore matches in TNA wrestling. So they should kind of just bring them into TNA. I mean, bring them into AEW, so that way we kind of have a progression. So I really just hope that they do something further. The Acclaimed versus Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. That was a great match, and I think what I liked about that is that obviously there was a face turn by Keith Lee and more of a heel turn by Swerve Strickland. So I definitely really enjoyed it. I do think that one unfortunate thing. I mean, I do think like it kind of makes us kind of wonder what's going to happen next between them. And also, too, I'm happy with this because now they're going to get away from their feud, because I really think that what's going to happen is that it's going to be FTR versus the Acclaim. So, just having something really different. I just don't like the I just kind of don't like the same old. So I'm happy that it's like one and done. Britt Baker versus Paige or Saraya. Okay, there was definitely some story behind it, but I wasn't that emotionally invested. It was just like a regular match. And I started to get some match fatigue when I watched that match, because I was kind of like, there's just a lot of stuff happening on the card. And then there's Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter. And again, it's like that same thing too, where I'm not super invested in the women's division outside of Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose, because they do have strong personalities. The other women really don't. They need to kind of do more things or do more outrageous stuff, really. So I don't think that they're kind of doing anything that kind of stands out way too much to me. I understand like the whole story about Saraya coming out of retirement and having a match. That's really awesome, but it doesn't really compel me that much. Because it's just like you see that happen all the time in WWE and other environments. So I would say it's a little just like boring. So what I would kind of say is that it just doesn't appeal to me. But I'm just thinking about all the matches. Brian Cage versus Ricky Starks. I'm happy Ricky Starks won, and he got a great reaction, just to show you that I do think that, when they decide the number one contender, it really needs to be Ricky Starks. Or if Ricky Starks loses, they eventually have to get to Ricky Starks versus MJF. Put him in the heavyweight picture, because he really needs it. And we'll just take it from there, because it's all about building people. And I think that's kind of the thing that I see with AEW, which is, you have MJF established. Now, what are you going to do, like, kind of afterwards? You need to kind of find a couple of people that you like and kind of keep building them upwards. And then there are some people that are just in limbo, and they have to say to themselves, you know what? You need to kind of figure out the next step, because you can't just have people in limbo. You can't just have repetitive matches like Sting and Darby Allin, and then just a repeat of a lot of, feuding with people. The House of Black has to go somewhere. Luchasaurus has to go somewhere. So, that's kind of the goal for, like, maybe the next year is what wrestlers do you have that have a lot of potential, that are kind of almost like, maybe your third or fourth season type of wrestler, television type of wrestler and do something with it. It really should be building Ricky Starks, Luchasaurus, Sting and Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, and what you just do with them. Like they've done a great job with Wardlow, and MJF, and the Acclaimed, and a couple of other ones, but there's other ones that need more work. And then the final match that I remember is Powerhouse Hobbs versus Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs, Samoa Joe, and Wardlow. Yeah, I can't believe I just drew a blank on that, but it was a really great match, and I think I really liked it because it's a physicality type of match. And I like what some people were saying, that the issue with Wardlow is that he just power bombs, and he has a very minimalistic style in a lot of his television matches. But on the pay-per-view, he's more like a X Division type of wrestler. So I think he just has to kind of do a little bit of both, or just pick one style. But it doesn't kind of make sense if someone's just doing multiple power bombs, and that's what you expect from him. And then, when he does a regular match, he does like all this X Division stuff. So I think that he has to kind of blend it together. But I was surprised they put the title on Samoa Joe, but I understand that between the three of them, Samoa Joe has like the most personality and all that. The last match that I'm going to review that I remember is the 4-way ROH Championship, and they did a great job with that. I obviously knew Chris Jericho was going to win. I liked how they teased a tension between Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho. And like I said, that I wanted Sammy Guevara to win because I think that would have popped. But I understand that also it would have just kind of taken away from MJF, because now MJF is the first of the four pillars to get the heavyweight title. And now, but they did a great job, and I think that this was a great showing for Sammy Guevara, and it shows to everybody that there's money in Sammy Guevara versus Chris Jericho. So Sammy Guevara is another star that's in a little bit of limbo. He's kind of been following Chris Jericho around for a couple of years. We need to kind of do something with him. Can he be a heavyweight champion? And we need to create a road. So I know I'm being a little repetitive with my review, but I'm going to say what I have to say next. I'm just going to repeat what I have to say a little bit, which is that, first of all, really great show. I really enjoyed it. And you do have a bunch of wrestlers on this card that are very popular right now, but you need to kind of say, what are you guys going to do for them in the future? How are you going to build up your next group of wrestlers? And that's really just, people I would say is Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose, because, are going to move them to the women's championship. The other people I would say is that, Ricky Starks, Sammy Guevara, Sting, Darby Allin, like they should be like tag team champions, or Darby Allin should be pushed to the heavyweight title, and Sting should kind of mentor him into that. And Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. So, there's a bunch, as I said, and if they really don't do that, then it's going to be that thing about, they're just going to do their regular merry-go-round, and nothing's going to come out of it. So, a lot of promise, and do something with him. Build your next build your next generation, build your next class of great wrestlers, and bring them to the heavyweight title or other titles. They really, it really needs to happen.